park areas that a lot of people aren't even aware of. I mean, people that have lived here for a long time that don't even realize we have a huge park here that they could bring their children to. I mean, there's things that we could be highlighting as a community to really make sure that our residents are getting the benefit of what we're doing. Now, another thing in unfinished business, you had the weed control for the ball diamonds. We have 4 ball diamonds out there. Is that really even anything people are taking advantage of anymore? Because I think only 1 out of the 4 ball diamonds was even used last summer on a couple of different occasions. So is that really what we should be offering? So if we're going to expend money for that recreational option, is that an option people even want? I would think that these would be things we would want to be tapping into our community's opinions to find out before we commit to a master plan without their input stating that we got it.
So I have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Can this be changed, if, like the 63 days? I haven't been here for a different master plan, so during the 63 days, the public has
they can review the master plan, they can comment to the planning commission, and there's going to be an open meeting on the 14th day of March.
And then things can be changed or updated at that point?
And Sherry, to be clear, actually nobody here has been present for master plan except for Melissa, I believe. None of us have went through this process before other than Melissa.
I think something to consider when you look at this thing in the back and you look at this survey. I actually think a survey would be really nice. I think it'd be nice to know if people think that our roads improved any, because according to this, they don't think any of our roads improved. The percentage was against that. It would be nice to know if people think our township is actually accomplishing. Are we moving forward? Are we moving sideways? What are we doing? And, you know, ask the exact questions that are right here. Real simple.
But can't we as a board accept the draft? Because it still has to go to the 63-day review to everybody, where they would have an opportunity to voice their opinion. And then it still has to go back to the planning commission for one last public hearing.
Right.
So even if we approve to accept this tonight, it doesn't mean, okay, that's it, it's done, we can't change anymore.
Well, because we haven't done the community survey, we don't have buy-in of the community. Most of them don't even know this is going on. How many are actually going to come in here and review this? Probably not that many. You put an ad in the King County Journal with a readership of, 500 people maybe, and that covers Pinconning, Fraser, the whole area. Are you actually going to reach enough people that you're going to get an appropriate sample size of our citizenry? I don't think that that's going to be the case. We have other ways that we can reach out to them. 63 days is only 2 months. And I mean, we're still talking about the fact that we need to look at a cemetery ordinance that we said we would look at over 2 years ago. That hasn't happened. I don't know how quickly we're going to move in 2 months to actually get it out to the people that need to be engaged.
If you flip the very back of your master plan, and look at the last survey that's included in there.
Right there. I'm looking at it.
Okay, look at the number of people that responded.
You know what?
320, 350, I mean.
Do you realize how
I
good that
understand what
is?
you're saying. No, I
worked for
my point
Hippo
is you're
USA
saying
on
the
1,000 to get 100
King County
people is
Journal
considered
has
good.
500 readers, but I mean, only 350 people out of how many people in the township responded?
How was this last survey put out? This is the one in 2016, right? According to this, as of 1/27/2016, it says. So was this put out on social media? Was it put out
There wasn't even
versus?
social media back
Was,
then.
I think it was a postcard.
was it just a postcard that went out to every mailbox? Was it every door direct mailing? Was it put out by Spicer? Was it put out with the township? Was it actually marketed? I mean, we haven't seen any of the correspondence that went along with that survey to see if it actually was marketed well. I don't know, because I've never been able to get any correspondence about the last change to the master plan, even though I've requested it. So I haven't had the ability to see how the township marketed that to the people, to see if we could get a better response. Now that said, anytime that you do a large survey, if you get 30% response,
That's excellent.
that's phenomenal in most cases. It's really difficult to get a good response. You're still getting a sample, and you're getting a sample of the people that are most invested because they actually took the time to do it. These are the people that are more likely to show up at these meetings. These are the people that are more likely to want to be heard because they have a strong opinion about what their community looks like, what their community offers, and where their community is going in the future.
But is this something so anybody in the township can come in and read here? Or is it done on the, how is this going to be done?
It's on the webpage, they can come in here and read it.
We
We've
should
been working on this since April,
So I have a great story.
Just the draft.
so we're almost a year on it now.
I understand that.
And nobody has showed up to half of the public hearings we've had.
I understand that. So guess what?
And
Why don't we do a survey and why don't we put it on the township's webpage? And then why don't we promote it so that within the next 63 days, it's not in the Pinconning Journal alone, but how about putting it out so that
People
it's
can
the
share it.
exact information that was here? And see, have we improved? Are we neutral? What?
Well, in addition to that, since trustee DeShano hasn't had the opportunity to go to the planning commission meetings where they've talked about this, I believe trustee Campbell is on the PC.
I
Would you like to
am.
address some of the questions that she has right here?
She's been to the planning commission meetings.
Well,
She's been to some of them
Probably as many as Spicer.
and,
but a lot of the discussion that happened on the master plan wasn't happening in the planning
Oh.
commission meetings, right? They had their own meetings to talk about the master plan, and then it was basically just the questions that people asked. And there were a lot of questions asked, and there were statements made that they were gonna follow up on things, such as concerns about some of the maps that were included, concerns about some of the definitions. That has been brought up several times, and platitudes were given. And
But
nothing
do we get
ever
the
happened.
answers from trustee Campbell though? I mean, he's the rep, so.
we worked on the master plan. Actually, Mr. Rokas is sitting here, and he is actually the co-chair of the board.
Yeah,
My first question.
But you get a vote on this board.
right.
And
I
so-
understand they get a vote
Okay,
on this.
I have a question. Did you ever talk about the master plan other than at a meeting?
I hope not.
We only talked about this master plan. We had Spicer come in
At meetings.
at meetings.
So they weren't
were
closed door
workshops. They were workshops. They were not, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But when we were working on the project with the old Central Michigan lumber property, or whatever the other name was on that property, we had 3 work sessions almost every 14 days, I think. Do you roughly recall?
3-4 workshops and probably another 3-4 that were on our actual agendas. But again, the workshops were all posted on the website that there were workshops. So, and I can't,
Well, we did the best,
Decide.
the best diligence we could in reference to what's in this document, but we did not do a survey. We did the due diligence to see and update this document, but we did not do a survey.
So since you're here, if I can ask, how much time did you guys actually spend, like say on future land use? I mean, were you guys actually sitting there and having those discussions, or was that primarily done by Spicer?
No, we sat at this
I'm
table.
really curious, like, were you, moving colors around, right? That you were deciding what the future land use based on where our community was supposed to go? Or was that a recommendation from Spicer directly?
You say
We've got an
yes, right?
answer
Both?
on that question.
Charlie just said
Really
yes.
We actually all sat around this table with the workbooks that Spicer provided us with, which I just took in the other room. Yeah, I just
so
took
to
it.
answer your question, it was both. It was back and forth. I mean, each meeting was probably 2.5 hours, 3 or 4 of those work sessions, along with the time that was done on it.
Can the survey be done in the 63 days?
I'm not a marketing guy, I'm not sure. I mean, you have to check with your web, if you're gonna do it via website, you'd probably need to have the PC come up with what they want in that survey and check with your website provider to see if there's a way to track it. Social media is not my thing, so.
No, it be on the website. I think we mailed postcards out the last.
Yeah, but I think the website might be the better way, because all the people
Well,
along the
no, I'm
beat.
gonna
The
disagree
website's
with you.
got this, is gonna have this on it tomorrow.
But the problem is that we have a very, I shouldn't say problem, but we have a large population of elderly that aren't necessarily tapping into social media. That, I mean, that's
Don't even
obviously
have a
an issue with
computer.
it. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of
So,
them that don't, that
It was
may
a
need to have a
letter, it
chance
was a letter
to.
before. It was-
so we
It's a letter.
put
Yeah.
this on our website, and then we put a worksheet on there that says comments welcome. And we could regulate it on the website that manner, and you can send your postcards out.
You know what, I think maybe having a conversation with
Ritter.
Spicer about how they've done it, I'm quite sure Spicer is who was working with Monitor Township, and they just recently did a survey. I'm sure they already have a whole canned process. They work with lots of different municipalities for how they do these surveys. And I'm sure it's been updated technologically, updated as time has went by, where they are kind of a forked approach, right? For the people that are online, the people that would rather just log in somewhere and do a survey versus the people that are older that are more likely to do it by mail. This is what they do, and this is what we pay them for, and we pay them a heck of a lot of money.
Well, if
They
you have
should
them
be
do the
providing
survey,
that
you'll pay
service
them a
for
lot
us.
more money.
I understand, but if we're gonna do it, we should do it the right way. If you're gonna put in there that this was input from the community, then there should be input from the community. We're
They've
saying
had
it
a
right
year
there.
to input. They've had a year to input. They've had, I know that they've had at least 8 public hearings, maybe more.
There hasn't been 8 public hearings. It's been on the agenda multiple times, but that wasn't
I
actually
went
a
to
public
Spicer
hearing.
while they're here and the planning board and told them what was wrong with things. And when Jennifer sat here the last meeting, she said she's never had anybody come to her with the property lines that were all wrong or anything. So I think there's a tremendous amount of incompetence in the whole draft.
And that was
And
mentioned
everybody
in public hearing.
understands this is a plan. This is not what is cast
Not
in
that
stone.
stone.
It's a master.
Plan.
But it sounds like there's a difference of opinion on, because like Trustee Campbell said, we did our due diligence, but it sounds like there might be a question on whether that due diligence was done.
Well, the question is, did we do it to the extent of what this says was done in 16? We did what we do, but no, we did not do this survey like they did in 2016, where 440 people responded. No, we did not do that.
And that's been brought up many, many times. It's been brought up by members of the public, even that communication we had last month from Michelle Kirchman. She specifically talked about that. She talked about how she brought it up. She talked about how she talked to Fletcher about it and said, you know, we need to do a new survey. Too much has changed. The world has changed. We need to do another survey. And he said, no, we're not going to do another survey. I'm paraphrasing. But that was what she had communicated to us in her correspondence that we entered into
Yeah.
correspondence
So
last
the
month.
whole
So this isn't a
board,
new
the whole,
argument.
sorry, the whole board heard the objections about that we should do a survey, and they never promoted the survey.
That's
For
what
a
I'm
year,
saying.
we're almost at a year, we're at the 10-month mark or 11th month mark, and they never done a survey.
And
So
I brought it up
I'm thinking the
myself.
planning commission didn't think a survey was that necessary.
Well, we're the elected officials, they're the appointed officials. There's a difference. We are elected to represent the people. And if we're saying that we took their opinions into account when we're drawing up a 20-year plan, then we should be taking their opinions into account. And that didn't happen. 2016, which is what's in here, right? 2016.
9 years ago. 7 years ago. 7 years.
So
7
what I'm saying
That's a long
is,
time ago. Things have changed
they
a lot.
felt that a survey wasn't necessary to make the 20-year plan.
Well,
Meaning it didn't have to be Mr. Fletcher just saying no, that the rest of the board could have voted to do a survey. The rest of the board could have worked together on it.
well, again,
We
we're
are
elected.
only approving the draft to begin the 63 days for the public to review it.
But by approving it, we're putting a timeline on it that would preclude us from being able to actually get the community input. So this is our time to have this discussion. We're elected to represent the people. This says it represents the people's desires, and yet we haven't gotten the people's desires. So that is an untrue statement in the master plan. I don't think there's been a lot of education about the master plan so people know what it is. You know, we're working on the master plan. They don't really know exactly what that is, and we know that there's not always people that are coming to attend our meetings. So we need to actually care about what they think, and care about what they think by seeking their opinions.
I guess we could drive around and pick them up by buses and bring them so they can read it. I mean, obviously, if they're not interested,
What would you consider like a sufficient amount of time to do a survey, to allow the people like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month?
Well, there's the structure of the survey. That's why we'd have to talk to Spicer. The planning of the survey, if we don't already have a setup to do a survey, you know,
I
you've
think
got
we do. We have 19 specific
Well, you don't have a
questions right here.
mechanism, but you have the questions, but you don't have a
But I think the
mechanism.
questions.
They must have had it. They
No,
did,
I
somebody
guess
did
we
the
still
survey.
have that.
Here you go, sorry. What was that?
I guess, I think I was saying what Charlie was just saying. I think those questions, I think, came from Spicer, so they would probably still have that, so.
This exists, and you can go to the
Might
post
use the
office.
same survey, and try to do it within the 63 days that it's in public review to get enough responses back. That's my question. Do you feel 2 weeks is enough time, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Well, I think we would have to talk with Spicer, because even if they have the questions and even if they have a procedure they usually follow, we have to know how they're going to market it and get it out to people. You would have to have printing time if you're going to do anything in print. You don't know how long the printing time is going to take. I mean, there's just questions where we couldn't just say, yeah, it'll totally happen in 2 weeks. What if it takes 2 weeks to even get postcards? And then by the time you get it over to send it out to everybody, right? And then mail time, and then time for them to mail it back.
I think 2 months is more than enough time.
I'm just saying you can't
If we
say.
were to move forward with this, who would like to do it? I mean,
I guess we would need to ask, I could give Jennifer a call tomorrow. She's gonna come up on Thursday for our meeting. Ask her if she has a copy of whatever postcard was used for the 2016 survey in our file. If she brought the postcard up, we could get it printed within the week. Max.
She probably got it printed and everything and sent it out, so.
When I think we need to be open to multiple types of marketing, because some people are gonna prefer to do it online, some people are gonna prefer to do it on paper.
Well, right on the
We have
bottom
to be
of
able
it,
to approach.
I would actually send the postcard out, and it would say, this can also be completed online at this.
Exactly.
So just for Shirley's edification, you have a failed motion and trustee
Okay.
Campbell's gonna call Spicer.
All right, so you're not going to,
I think that's
That's
brass
what
tacks.
I'm not saying, we shouldn't approve it.
There's no second, so there's no,
All
it's a
right,
failed
so,
motion.
all right, let me rephrase the motion long before we get a second. That we accept the motion to start the 63 days on the draft for the master plan. And
Have you guys ever done data analysis?
and then,
She's gonna be very ticked off. If you
and
say we're gonna
that
do
we,
this in 63 days.
we do a
Survey.
survey within the 60 days, so at the open meeting, the results are there for the planning commission to look at. The results of the open meeting would have to be, let's say, a week before the March 14th open meeting.
You mean the results of the survey,
The results of the survey.
Available for the hearing.
available a
For
week
the hearing.
before the open meeting.
A week before the open meeting.
Really, that's a serious question. Have any of you ever done data analysis on a large scale? Have you ever done
Do I hear a
research?
second?
Because I have, and you're not gonna get it in 63 days, just so you know. She's
Okay.
not gonna be pleased.
can I kind of go over this? Moved to approve the drafted master plan for the 63-day public review period, along with having a public survey done with the results being in
Within that 60.
within the 63 days, with the results 1 week prior to the March 14th
Open meeting.
open meeting. Public hearing.
Public hearing, there you go. We have a second, let's do a roll
Melissa
call.
seconded it.
Yeah. Davison,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Class,
Yes.
DeShano,
No,
Campbell.
Yes.
have fun with Jennifer.
I will have fun with Jennifer, I'm sure.
All right, the planning commission, Mr. Fletcher, who has moved out of the community and moved to Midland. He did stay long enough to finish this final draft here in December and would like to be removed from the planning commission. So I make a motion that we remove Mr. Fletcher from the planning commission.
Accept his resignation.
Huh?
Accept his resignation.
I accept his I would propose that we accept
I'll
his
second it.
resignation. Let's do a roll call on that.
Cruz,
Yes.
Class,
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson.
Yes. And in my records, I talked to Deb Knuckle, actually more than a year ago, and I've talked to her several times since. And in the 1st of December, when he decided to stay for another meeting or two to finish the master plan, and on the way home tonight, I stopped and talked to her, and she's still interested. I would like to make a recommendation or a motion to appoint her to the planning commission.
It's actually, you are nominating.
I'm nominating her to the planning commission.
Second.
So, my question is, it says the vacancy can be filled by a township supervisor with approval of the township board within 1 month of the resignation or the removal of the current planning commission member. Successor shall serve out the remainder of the term. So, my question is there anybody else that was even interested?
There has been people that have, I have one more name that was given to me, other than the one at 1 o'clock this afternoon or 2 o'clock, that was interested. I am making the nomination that Deb Knuckle is more than competent to handle and be on the planning commission. I'm making her as my, so I'm requesting that she be appointed.
Was this ever put out to the public? Because I didn't find out about it until Friday. So
Yeah.
was this ever put out to the public where the public could say if they were interested or be made aware of the fact that there was an opening? Because
No.
we didn't even know as elected members of this board that there was an opening until we received our agendas.
On Friday afternoon.
So it would seem like we're not properly giving
It
our
is
residents
properly-
a chance
It's my job
to contribute.
It's my job to make recommendations for the planning commission.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, with nobody knowing in the community what's going on and when this is happening, maybe I'm interested in it, and I wouldn't even known.
Then you can
except
put
for
your
I'm at
name
meeting
in the
tonight.
next available seat. I have one person ahead of you who's showed interest.
Well, and that's, like you, like they said, you've had, when there was an opening before, there were these people who applied for it. So you've got a list now that he's working off of. You didn't just pull these names out of
Right.
thin air.
Mr. Roof come in after, I had his name for more than a year before he got appointed.
I'm just reading what it says there on our bylaws for the PC, and I'm just asking the question if, this was something that was
Does that
open.
need a second?
You're,
I got a second.
yeah,
Melissa second.
so now go to a vote.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the discussion done. Class,
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davison,
Yes?
Cruz.
Yes.
All right. Anything under business? I did get the police report here. It wasn't here when I put everything together, but I do have it, if you would like to see it. Should have had it up.
One thing I would like is, since we are a general law